Hello everyone, welcome to From Dial Square to Where. Hopefully that I'm not echoing, I'm not sounding like fucking Metal Mickey. Fingers crossed. Been having some technical issues. If anyone is watching, put some comments on, let me know what I'm sounding like. I don't know what I can do, but I can try. Thanks for joining us anyway. Ryan. I think, what am I going to call? I'm going to call you, I don't know, wanker and bastard. No, I'm joking.
People are trying to adopt a nickname for me. They sound like I'm the Ganduzi groupie.
Yeah.
My little tirade about, well, I guess not tirade, that's like a negative thing. All the nice things I had to say about Ganduzi on my Arsenal Fans Circle podcast, which you guys should check out. But yeah.
Absolutely.
Ganduzi groupie for sure.
Anyway, Arse Brothers Ryan, thanks for joining us again. It's a pleasure to have you back, and absolutely the same with you, Ryan, Mr. Arsenal 89. So, thanks very much anyway, Undercover Jim. He said that I sound fine. So, that's a relief.
We're going to echo because you have the echo problem. So, me and him are both going to echo.
Well, the one of the viewers, I trust the viewer. Says I sound well, I sound good.
Oh, yeah, you do. You sound great, as always.
Anyway. Going to go through the Newcastle game, some general thoughts on that. I'm going to have a bit of a talk about my previous comments about Eddie and Nketiah, and then we'll go on to the Greeks and we'll go on to Everton. Okay, so we were just off air talking about the Newcastle game. I was really pleased to be there. It was our first game in a while, and personally, I was really I was happy with the 90 minutes, to be perfectly honest. I know the first half was boring to a lot of the viewers, but I thought we were pretty much controlling it without sort of creating too much chances. But I thought we were just sussing them out. It was our first game for 2 weeks, and I thought we were in control. And I really was very impressed in the first half by Ceballos, personally. So, let's go around clockwise like I normally do. Ask Brothers Ryan, what were your thoughts on the game overall?
Yeah, like you said, it's hard to dominate for 90 minutes, but tell two halves, same old Arsenal, I guess, kind of. But still really pleasing. I took a lot of slack, especially from my brothers, but I thought Ozil was actually pretty good in the first half. I'm not good, but he was. You could tell he was trying a little more than he usually does. He was linking up play. He's making pretty good dribbles, good ball movements, passing. And I thought Saka was phenomenal in the first half too. But two players is not gonna carry in the first half. So in the end, I didn't do that great. But I think Arteta, which I'm sure we'll get into, but Arteta's game plan and his tactics are a little more complex than people think. And I think it took them a little bit to kind of put it in motion to get it flowing.
I was never worried that we weren't going to win the game. Put it that way. I mean, a lot of people I've heard on other podcasts and everything saying, well, it had 0-0 written all over it at half time. I never got that impression, personally.
Maximum was putting Bellerin on toast for like a good part of the game. I was worried about that because I've seen him play here and there, and like he's always something like, yeah, he's all right, like whatever. He's a good player. He's young. I mean, I'm just saying, get Zaha out of here. Bring that guy in. Bring Tyne Maxwell.
Well, you know what? I was worried about it, but I wasn't worried in the fact that Bellerin wasn't playing well or anything like that. I wasn't worried about his, Bellerin's ability. I'm still of the opinion we're not going to see the best of Bellerin until next season.
Yeah, agree.
But I was worried because he's a very exciting player and very dangerous player. And I think he'll have a lot of right backs on toast for throughout the season, as I'm sure he has already. But you know who he looks like? His shape, his body shape. He looks like SpongeBob SquarePants. He's like a fridge with legs. He's like a really odd shape. Anyway, when you see him like close up, but he's a very good player, very dangerous. He's very much similar, not as in form or as good quality, but he's like an Aldi version of Traore, isn't he, from Wolves? But quite a similar sort of.
Traore is
massive. Oh, he's massive. I know exactly, but he's very similar. I wouldn't be surprised if in a couple of years he takes off a bit like Traore has, and he gets snapped up by someone else. To be perfectly honest, but everyone, I know that the Newcastle fans absolutely adore the guy. He is the type of player that you want to pay to watch, and he's very exciting. But I think Saka was outdid him the weekend. Anyway, Ryan, Mr. Arsenal, Ryan, what were your thoughts on the game overall?
Well, it always, as you guys said, the game of two halves, but the first half was first 20 minutes. Newcastle, it's like we were letting Newcastle come at our defence, but unlike under Emery and near the end of Wenger's time at Arsenal, I didn't think we would concede because how Arteta's since he's come in has literally tore the foundation down and built again. So everyone's now defending as a team. So I didn't have that concern. And in the second half, well, we all know it was like who was going to be man of that, because obviously Saka got man of that. Pepe 2 assists, 2 goals. Lacazette 2-footed a goal. And even Ozil scored for crying out loud.
I know, it's mad, isn't it?
Even with his little ponytail, his little bam look, actually, as we've discussed on social media, actually worked. The midfield partnership with him and Xhaka actually worked, and that was my slight concern because I've always seen him as more creative, more forward-thinking player. But the second half, we saw more of that in the second half. He started getting his foot on the ball and dictating not only the tempo but where the passes were going, what the play was like. In general, I'm actually happy. And as you said last week, a thumping was coming from us. It just happened a few days later.
Yeah, I know. Well, I've been saying that for a couple of weeks because I've just felt like it. And like I said, he's built this team in his own style from the ground up, and he's built a solid defence first. Got us into a really sort of I don't know, a safe way of playing, if you like. Every team is built on a good defence, right? And he's done that, and I just knew that with the quality that we've got at the top of the pitch, once he's happy with the defence and they know what they're doing as a team to defend as a team, then the rest will come. And I've just felt like that for the last couple of, well, more than a couple of weeks really. But yeah, I was pleased to actually be at the game when it actually all came around in the second half. But when the team was announced, the only surprise really, well, I was delighted with Ceballos. Everyone knows I've not hidden my thoughts about Ceballos, have I? Let's
I
face
really
it.
thought of you when I saw 2011. I was like, oh baby.
I know.
I was like, oh yeah.
Well, I'd like to think that he's gone one stage of the way of, hopefully trying to stay here, because, like you said last week, Ryan, his time's running out. And I didn't think he was going to get the chance, but I was delighted when I saw that. But obviously the main surprise to me was Nketiah, not with Lacazette being dropped. That I think everyone's been saying that for the last couple of weeks, that he needs to be sat down. But that in more ways than one, it was in place of Martinelli. So, like I said, I'm going to go on to my thoughts about Eddie shortly, but yeah, I mean, he's had a lot of stick that I've heard for his performance, Eddie Nketiah. What do you think, Ryan, Mr. Arsenal, Ryan? What do you think about Eddie? Were you shocked when he was on the team sheet, and what do you think about his performance overall?
Lacazette, I agree he should have been benched. I would have thought Martinelli would have been the one to take his place, like in the sense of part of that three instead of Eddie. In the first half, it took a bit of time for Eddie to get involved and have a bit of say in the game. Again, in the second half, he came out a completely different player, and he was more involved, and he almost scored. Let's not forget that. If he went for the goalkeeper, he would have scored the first goal. So,
Absolutely.
People got to remember, he's what, 18, 19? He's still a kid, still learning his trade, so you've got to give the guy a chance. Arteta's good, but you've got to get Van's got to not get on his back and just give him a chance.
Yeah.
Get behind the guy. If you can get beyond Martinelli, why can't you get behind this one? another youth product. That's because one from Brazil and one isn't.
Well,
There's a reason why
sorry, go.
there's a reason why Leeds fans were kicking off when Leeds sent him back to us.
Well, I saw a stat, and I'm gutted because I can't find it. I would have just said I'm not just making it up. Apparently, since he's been in our first team, Eddie Nketiah has taken, and this was before the match against Newcastle. He took 10 shots at goal, and 5 were on target, and he scored 4 goals. So, if he gets a chance, he will score. I totally believe that. He's a goal scorer. Before I go into any more on that, what were your thoughts, Arse Brothers, Ryan, about the team sheet when it came out, and in particular, Eddie being on it?
I don't know. I think Lacazette is not on form. Wasn't on form. So bringing Eddie on the surface sort of made sense. When you think about it, you know, why isn't Obama forward, Martin on the line? But then again, I think we'll get into like the tactics, watching the tactics throughout the game. I kind of understood why Obama was left wing, but yeah, I mean, he needs games. I mean, you know, we brought him back from the and didn't ship him back out on a loan. So he's got to play. He need to get it somehow, some way. And I think, like I said, on the podcast, Newcastle is like the least threatening team in the Premier League, least attacking team in the Premier League. So the worst attacking team sounds better. So this would be the perfect opportunity for him to be deployed for us. Striker.
Yeah. Stan the man. Thanks for watching, Stan. As much as I would love to see a striker come through our academy and do well, I just don't see a time where Eddie will be our first choice number 9, unfortunately. His game is very one-dimensional. Now, I'll just explain, because I said a few weeks ago, and I listened to a Bergkamp Wonderland podcast last week. I think it was the one immediately after the game, and they mentioned what I said on the previous podcast, and that was that I can see Eddie being a 20 to 30 goal a season striker. And now they didn't, not that they were taking the piss out of me or anything, but I think it was a bit of tongue-in-cheek comments. I wanted to explain that a little bit more and why I think that, because there's certain things as a footballer you can't really teach, and one of them is very much the intelligence on the football pitch and creating that little bit of space for yourself and spotting it coming up, and almost through your runs that you make. It's very hard to explain, but through the runs that you make, it's almost telling your teammates where you want the ball before they've passed it, just through the runs that you make and the movements that you make. I think he's got a lot of that in abundance. I've spotted it. I think that Ian Wright, obviously, like I said before, spots that in him as well. Now, I'm going to give some of them are obviously quite old, but there's loads of examples. But 3 examples I would use, like Ian Rush, Gary Lineker, Michael Owen, just 3 people that goal scorers. They didn't have a lot else to their game at all. They weren't skillful. They weren't out there taking players on. They weren't doing step overs. They weren't doing any of that. They just did the right place at the right time, and they scored bucket loads of goals. The only issue we've got is what Stan said. Will he have a good run in the team to prove himself? It's very, very difficult to even consider that with the people we've got in our squad. If he was to be given that chance, he would need to be the type of striker whereby, yes, he would need to press from the front, but that's it. The rest of the time he needs to be on the shoulder of the last defender, ready to pounce. If we could build our team so that we had, say for example, Pepe on the right, Martinelli on the left, or Saka on the left, or whoever, but they were just feeding the ball into the box, I I am really confident that he will be in the right place at the right time just to stick them away. Nothing special, not like sticking them into the top corner, doing anything. But he would just score tap in after tap in if the team was set up to do it for him. Maybe more like a 4-3-3 type of formation. His age doesn't come into it. Look at what Michael Owen did when he burst onto the scene at 18. Look at people are like raving and falling over themselves and sucking off Mason Greenwood at Man United. He's only 18. They're all. I've heard a lot of professional pundits say he should be taken to the Euros as a backup striker as well. He's 18. I don't see anything special in that guy, but he probably is a born goal scorer. I don't know. It's yet to be proven. But I think Eddie's 20 now, but the chances that he's had on loan and with us, his figures actually stand up. But people are writing him off already, and against Newcastle, it's his Premier League debut. And everyone's saying, I don't think he's a Premier League striker. He's not an Arsenal striker. Blah, 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 blah. And then I don't see anyone backing it up with any kind of reason for that. Why? What? Because he's from our academy. I don't know. He's not like a Ronaldo type player who takes people on and who gets people off their seats. And I think that's the bias that people have got against him, personally.
Andrew, I don't just think it's against him in particular. I think it's, as you said, it's the media and all that. As you said, they're sucking off Mason Greenwood. He's doing nothing. Sorry, he ain't done nothing this year to worthy this praise that he's getting, that he should be going to the Euros for England, this, that and the other. Nothing more than what Eddie's done. But because he's not playing for Arsenal, they're praising him. If Eddie was at any other club, any other academy, any other club, he'd get praise.
The same with all of our guys, basically. Saka would get a lot more praise. And
Joe Willett, for example, he's played a lot of games this season. Where's his praise?
None of them have any, really.
You've got Mason Mount, who was playing at Derby County for crying out there last year. He's on the bench on Monday evening. He's not going to be their biggest home game of the season, let's be honest. But he should be in the squad.
I know.
He's not an Arsenal player. It's a media thing. It's not just players as well. It's everything in general. I mean, look at the Man City situation. To be banned, and media again, like they're overturned that they can't be banned. No matter what anyone says, Man City have broken laws. They've tried to get around it, and certain laws that everyone has agreed to. So if we've done that, the media will be hanging us left, right, and centre. It's an absolute fucking disgrace. It does my head in. But we say something. We say this, and we're being spoiled. No, we're just saying it. We see how things are, and we say it how it is. And we're just being treated like all.
Wow.
The media's always hated us. George got him once said, famously, it's on the 89 DVD. The media want us to fail. They want. It was even after the Battle of Old Trafford under George Graham. The media wanted that. They wanted us to fail. They want us to flop now. We need to prove them wrong. We're fighting against me. It's going back years and years and years. It hasn't changed.
No.
It's stupid.
I don't think it ever will. I think it's not even with my Arsenal hat on. I think there's very few young players, teenage players, that have made an impact in the same way that Saka has this season, especially playing out of position and learning it on the job. And the players have had so much more praise than he has. I've hardly heard any praise whatsoever for Saka. But there you go.
Good.
The problem,
let him go under the radar. I don't mind one bit. Don't give him any praise.
No.
Don't let teams for him. I don't.
Very good point. Very good point. And he's still on a trainee player's wage, isn't he? He's still on a trainee.
Yeah. He's making peanuts.
I think I've got no worries that he's going to sign a new contract. Personally, I think he's Arsenal through and through, and I think we need to do it quickly though, and get a big book.
Yeah, definitely.
Big.
The one thing I will say, going kind of back to Eddie, it's tough because as someone, I've been playing striker all my life, so I kind of know the ins and outs of it, and I see what he does in the field. He makes great runs. He's a smart player. But I don't think that's good enough for this club. Kind of what Stan said in the comments. He's very enthusiastic, and his composure isn't all that there a lot. And also, too, a big thing that I think people are overlooking is, again, I'm going to keep going back. This is going to be like the thing I keep talking about. Arteta's tactics do not suit him. He is not going to make it in this club with Arteta's tactics. He likes to have a hardworking striker and kind of make his own chances, not someone who's going to make good runs in the box and get it a lucky tap in. Because I think that's what he's good at. He's good at knowing where to be at the right time, knowing how to play striker, knowing where to be in certain situations when wingers have the ball, central midfielder has the ball. But the instructions that Arteta was giving Eddie was that I just don't think he's ready for it. It's a little more physical thing in the Premier League, and I just don't think his body's ready for it. Because he doesn't really play, he doesn't really play, and I'm gonna doubt him. And maybe he is gonna be ready next season. I don't know, but I just don't think his tactic, excuse me, I don't think Eddie's play style suits Arteta's tactics, and vice versa.
Well, it leads me on to my next point, really, and it's a very sad one for me, but I agree, and I really hope that I'm proven right about Eddie, but I don't think it will be for Arsenal, and that's the sad thing for me, because I really like him, and I am very, very confident that he will go on to be a great goal scorer, but I don't agree that he hasn't got the composure. Absolutely don't agree with that, but I don't think he will ever get a chance at Arsenal long term, and I don't see him breaking through with us. And yeah, for that,
skill. I think it just comes down to tactics. I don't think his composure is that bad. Like, I agree, but like the chance he had when he hit the crossbar, he has to score that. How old you are.
Can you watch? I urge you to watch that again. Watch that back, because that is a lot harder than you think. And if he had scored that would have been some goal. It was the way that it came to him, slightly behind him. He knew that he got his on over the top of it, but I think it was a lot harder chance than you actually remember. Because I've watched it back a couple of times, and I think, blimey, if that had actually gone in, that would have been incredible. He did really well to actually get it as close to the goal as he did, because of the way that he had to adjust his body, and sort of it was almost behind him slightly. So yeah, I don't blame you for that, but that doesn't even count for the shots on target that he's had, and his stats for that are very, very strong. But like I said, everything that I said, I totally stand by, and I'm certain that I will be proven right one day. Don't know which club it will be for, though, and that's the problem. And I'm really sad about that, because I just can't see him fitting into Arteta's team, because I think he would have to be in a 4-3-3 with service, purely service, and the two wide players purely told just to get the ball to Eddie, and he don't give Eddie any more tasks other than being in the box on the shoulder of the last man, and just get onto the end of chances. If he gets a team that will do that for him, I think he will.
He'll be great. I think he'll be really good. Yeah.
Honestly, I do. And he hasn't got all the skill in the world or anything. He's not one of those guys who gets you off your seat, like I said. But he will be there at the right place at the right time. And I just wanted to explain that a bit more, because of my thoughts on that. But yeah, I totally agree with a lot of what you said, what Stan has said in some respects. I don't think he'll do it with us, and I think it's a shame. But if he gets a few more games between now and the end of the season, and gets in more and more in the shop window, I wouldn't be against trying to get as much as possible for him in the summer, because a young English striker would command quite a decent salary fee, and I think we could actually get this. This may sound weird as well, because of the amount of we got for Iwobi. I could see us with. And it will purely be on potential. Hopefully he might get a few goals for us between now and the end of the season. But I can see us getting a similar fee, maybe not quite as much, but a similar fee, maybe around a 25-30 for Eddie, because of his potential and his age and his nationality. So fingers crossed he does get more of a chance, gets a few goals, and I would actually cash in the summer. And I don't like saying that, but I think I definitely would.
I mean, the bright side we have to look at, like, yeah, he has the Arteta tactics, all that mumbo jumbo, but the bright side for any fans out there that like think he's gonna make it, Arteta blocked him. I think he was supposed to get loaned out to Bristol City when we were called up for Leeds. Arteta didn't know. Arteta saw something in him that was like, I want him here. I want him in this club. So Arteta obviously sees something in him that he could do for us now, and see something that he could do for the rest of the Premier League, whether people have written it off or not, whether we can make Europa, make Champions League, whatever it is. Arteta sees something in Eddie, so I think that's definitely a positive. So I think, and the things that Arteta has done with this, some of these guys on the team is pretty incredible. So to see what he can do with Eddie, I'm very intrigued about. I'm excited about, and I'm not. I didn't write it. I'm not writing. I'm not written. I'm not writing off Eddie yet.
Yeah, yeah.
But we'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let me just scroll back up here. There's a question in the box. Carrie Tannerton, thanks for watching, Carrie. Should they try Martinelli for Ozil's position? It's just an interesting one. I would say he's more than capable of doing that, personally. Not yet, though. But I would, and I've said this loads of times, and I think I was really enjoying watching him on Sunday as well. Pepe, you remember me saying about Pepe working in that space behind the strikers? He was doing that so much more on Sunday. Did you notice? Yep. And my God, was he dangerous. And I see him being able to do that longer term when Ozil potentially leaves. But I really hope, and I don't like blocking any of our youngsters' route to the first team, but I just really hope that we can get someone like a Jack Grealish to play in that role personally.
Yeah,
because I don't want.
Yeah.
We don't need a number 10, and I don't think any club needs a number 10 anymore, do they? And he does so much more than that. He's played, because obviously me where I live, it's pretty much in my kids live especially. It's in the heartland of Villa, and I know that he's played as number 6, he's played as a number 8, he's played as a number 10, and he's played wide, left and right. He can play anywhere, and I would see him again, ideally in a 3-man midfield. I'd be really interested to see as the time goes what Arteta's plans are for this team, because if he does persist with a 4-2-3-1, then it's quite hard to see, where the best place would be to play a Grealish, for example. But in a 4-3-3, I think it'll be absolutely incredible. But to answer Carrie's question, I don't think Martinelli would be ideal for that. I think he's more than capable of it, but I would love to see him as the long-term successor to Aubameyang in the team as a striker, or playing as he was from the left. What about you guys? Ryan, Mr. Arsenal, Ryan first.
No, like you said, I see him more of a striker. He's a goal scorer in the day. I'd prefer him to be the long-term successor, like you said, of Aubameyang. He seems to thrive in going down the middle. We saw that against Chelsea. He literally got the ball and just ran with it. Whereas if you put him in that number 10 role, he's sort of cancels out that sort of part of his game. And I just want him to do the best that he can in the best position that he can, and that is literally as a striker, that's centre forward. I don't think we want. He's got the ability to adapt, but I don't want him to do that because he's such a raw talent, and what we've seen so far is so exciting. I don't want him to have to hold back, so to speak, in a number 10 role. Whereas if he plays in a natural position, either a winger or a striker, as it stands at that moment in time, he's a winger. But if he was to be moulded into a striker, he can literally just let loose and give the defence hell, basically. He's already doing that now. Imagine what he can do as he gets older. He's 18. It's
People don't go on about his age, do they? You know, like us.
I do.
No. I mean, it's like people say, "Oh, Willock's too young," or so and so. I'm not comparing their technical
No.
ability and their ceiling and their quality at all. But yeah, it just. But I want the front three that aren't stuck to one position.
Yeah.
I want them. I want them to be able to do what they want and have the intelligence to sort of fill in the spots. You know, if say Pepe comes in from the right to have a goal on the left or in the centre, I want the guy who's in the centre to go and go over to the right to cover him. I don't want a front three whereby they are rigid and. Desperately for Pepe, I desperately don't want him to do that, and I've given my reasons before. I don't want him to be too one-dimensional, and I don't want people to be able to read him too much. And I think he is clearly very left-footed, but he can use his right a lot. It's much better than people think. And he scares the living daylights out of defences, and I don't want him just to say, right, you stick over there on the right-hand side. I want him to be able to roam, because he will be devastating like that. And I see very much Martinelli being the same.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And that would cancel that. If he was again, that's what I'm saying. If he was to be put back in the number 10 role, that would cancel out Martinelli's ability to he'd have to change his game plan and everything. Whereas as part of that three, a bit like Liverpool, we have Mane, Salah, Firmino. They interchange. They literally, if one comes out, they fill the spots. As you said, and I want that because you want defences of every opponent to be second guessing what's literally not knowing what's coming basically. And
No.
Pepe, again, I'm so happy about Pepe all season. Most of our fan base, we should have got Zaha. I never wanted Zaha, by the way.
He's already beaten Zaha in all the statistics.
I never wanted Zaha.
No, neither do I. Neither did I.
No, not only does he dive, but he's not good enough. End of. He's at Palace for a reason. He flopped at Man United. David Moyes, Man United for a reason. Van Gaal didn't want him. Nevertheless, we've got. We're now starting, as the season's gone on, and now we've got a system where all the players are saying the communication is now key. We know what we know what's expected of us from the head coach from Arteta. We know what the game plan is. We know everything we need to know going out that white line. And we're now starting to see the benefits of what Pepe can give to us. I mean, that second half, Pepe absolutely, every time we look at the ball, he looked threatening.
I know. And do you know what's gone unnoticed? I've listened to every Arsenal podcast, I think, since the Newcastle game. And not one person has mentioned on the Lacazette goal how unselfish Pepe was.
Yeah.
He gave him that goal.
Yeah.
Watch that back. He could have easily curled that in with his left. He was on a perfect position on the edge of the 6-yard box to curl that round the goalkeeper and into the far corner. Yeah. No way would he, under normal circumstances, have given that up. He would have done that. He was on so much good form and his confidence was really high. He would have done that. But he saw how clear that Lacazette was, and he just rolled it across to him to give him the goal, because it's just teamwork, and he knew how badly Lacazette needed that goal. And I couldn't believe it when I saw it. I thought, that is so. I was just overjoyed, because that just shows you, and you can see what happened after Lacazette scored and the celebrations. The squad has become under Arteta. It's just chalk and cheese from when Emery was there. I mean, look at Lacazette's goal at the end of, what game was it, when he scored in the last minute to get a draw. And he just put yourself in that position for 1 second, and then what it is now, the team spirit, the team unity, the camaraderie, everyone loves each other again, and everyone is playing for each other. And you look back to what it was just a few short weeks ago, and it's just unbelievable, the change. And that for me is phenomenal, and makes me so happy to see.
You could tell, like, the squad was almost happier than Lacazette when Lacazette scored. The squad went crazy when he scored.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that's also part of the reason why, like, Pepe wanted to give to Lacazette, because I think everybody was just kind of like, all right, Lacazette, you need to score. Like, let's go.
Well, that's it.
Really exciting.
That's it. It's almost the same as that. I mean, in that position, it was almost the same as Aubameyang giving Lacazette that penalty last season.
Or Aubameyang giving Pepe the penalty to score his first Arsenal goal.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly, and that makes me really happy to see that sort of thing because it was obvious for me to see that he literally just gave Aubameyang that goal, and it was obviously lucky the way it went in the end. But everyone's been saying the last few weeks, oh, he just needs to score one off his arse, and at least it was better than being off his arse, you know. And my bloody hell, did you see the size of Danny Rose's arse? Oh my God! You had to, it used up a lot more energy to run round Danny Rose, during the match because of the size of it. It's like running around a block. But anyway, my God, he's such a white. I hate Danny Rose so much. It just shows you how shit he was at the weekend.
Just touching on what you said about what Arteta's done, and this is what frustrates me with Jamie Carragher. The first thing was
Oh my God!
Don't do this.
Someone after Liverpool lost to Man United a couple of years
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Got suspended to the end of the season. He's still got his job. He's got the front to then. Well, Arteta's done nothing. I don't see what he's done. He ain't done nothing.
I know.
How dare you?
That's why he's not a coach.
What qualifies you to criticise someone doing what they're doing? And you can anyone that knows football, apart from Jamie Carragher, apparently, can see what Arteta's doing. Like I said earlier on in the show, literally he's come in, stripped whatever crap was in this squad at the first place, and he's had to rebuild straight away. And we are defeated. How many goals have we conceded under Arteta?
Hardly any. I know.
And it literally every time the team's attacking us, we're not there like, oh, here we go, we're going to see.
No, I'm not worried anymore.
No, exactly. But Jamie Carragher, oh no.
No, but he's not even had the balls to even try management. I mean, can you imagine? Gary Neville doesn't ever criticise managers anymore because he's a fucking shit manager. Look what happened to him at Valencia.
Yeah.
But Jamie Carragher hadn't even got the balls to even try it. No. So, and Roy Keane was even more annoying than Jamie Carragher. Oh, look at them fucking celebrating that goal like you fucking winning against Newcastle United. Well, go back going to fucking kiss my arse, you big fucking Irish cunt. Because...
He is, isn't he? He's always been like that. That's why him and Fergie never got on.
I can't remember who it was. I do apologise. Another one of these podcasts I listened to earlier on about, after the game. But one of them said that, I think it might have been Jason actually on the Bergkamp Wonderland. He says, well, he was celebrating like a little bitch when he won the FA Cup against Millwall and he got the balls to criticise us after the run that we've been on, the shit season we've had under Emery, and the improvements we've made. You don't think we're going to be happy after a 4-0 win? Turning around all those draws and all the shit we've had. Honestly, he's still back in the 90s. That stupid cunt.
I'm so happy that I'm on my TV in America. I don't worry about that.
Mate, I will never ever criticise the way he was as a player because he was a legendary player. Although he was I was reminded again of the Haaland tackle when he openly admitted that he went out to actually really harm Alf-Inge Haaland, and that makes me sick, because anyone that would ever do it, he literally should have got put in prison for that as GBH. And he came out and admitted that he wanted to do it, and he did it, and he smashed his leg in smithereens. That should be a police thing for me, to be perfectly honest. But anyway, that's by the by. But as a player, he was fantastic, and I'll never forget those. Just looking in the tunnel at him squaring up to Patrick Vieira, and that's just like one of the all-time legendary sort of scenes and pictures, isn't it? And but anyway, yeah, Carragher and him can just fucking kiss my arse. So
that's my head. Because I see our situation similar to when Klopp took over at Liverpool. The situation because they were leaking goals, they were literally the situation we're in the sense of they weren't in Champions League football, constant Europa League, leaking goals left, right, and centre. And that's where we are now. But and everyone gave Klopp praise straight from the off. What in the media sense is it? It's like unless our fan base, praises our setter, he doesn't get no praise at all. Just because, again, like we've said before, just because it's Arsenal, it's a fashionable thing to beat us over the head with it.
I know.
It absolutely drives me absolutely bizarre. And
I
we
know.
see Tottenham are struggling against God knows what, week in, week out. But no,
How happy are you that Son is injured now as well?
oh well, it's the season over. At least we'll finish above them this year.
I don't want to say happy, but I'm definitely I'm not sad. I'll put it
Well,
that way.
he's not dead. He's just going to be out for a while, so I think we can be happy about that. But I mean, everyone, he's not that sort of player. He's fucking. I mean, did you see what Maguire did at the weekend?
Oh, it's the best way.
Yeah.
Mm,
Now Son did that, didn't he? And
yeah.
I can't remember who it was against.
Against Chelsea.
Yeah, it was. It was against Chelsea.
And what did the press say about him? Oh, he's not that sort of player. He wouldn't have meant that.
Nice, but literally a few weeks prior to that, he broke someone's leg.
Exactly.
That's what I'm
Exactly.
gonna say. Like that.
If you freeze frame the picture of him going for that challenge, it doesn't look like that.
What's the difference between that challenge that Son did and broke that guy's leg to Aubameyang's challenge where he got sent off and it wasn't rescinded like Son's?
Son was crying on the pitch. That's probably why.
Exactly.
Like,
He's
oh no!
Son,
It was he broke. It was Everton, wasn't it? It was Gomes. That was
Yeah.
last year.
Comments, yeah.
Wasn't it?
am I
Not last
right?
year, it was a while ago.
Am I right though? It's this season though.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Not while, but yeah.
Right. He at the time he didn't get a booking, or he may have got a booking, but it wasn't a sending off. Then it was looked at by VAR, and it got changed to a red because of the severity of the injury.
Yeah.
Then they appealed it, and the ban was overturned. Right.
Yep.
So, but we don't get anything like that for, Aubameyang's tackle or anything. No. There's no grounds. There's no grounds for appeal. I just don't.
Because as Ryan said it before, because he had a little cry on the pitch, like, no, not me, no.
I know. He's a smiling, crying little fucking bitch.
That's all it takes. You cry on the pitch once, you're seen as like the nicest guy in the world, and then if you do a fucked up thing, it's like, oh no, he's not like this. Did you see him crying in the Everton game? Yeah, well, no, he is like this.
I know. And Stan, the man, has just said here about Maguire. Said that I heard the thingy. He said he extended his leg to stop the player falling on him. Fucking
Yeah, I saw that.
Jesus Christ.
Idiot.
He should have. The player should have got, put his chest on his arm, put his arms out, and just gone out like some kind of fucking yoga thing or whatever.
The one thing I will say, as much as I hate Man U with a passion, the one thing I will say is that's karma for Chelsea. Chelsea that shit against us. Jorginho should have got sent off, and then Jorginho then follows up and scores. Man U,
Same.
Maguire should have sent off. Maguire scores against them. So fuck you, Chelsea. That's karma, bitch.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't have put it better myself. Last thing, really, I'm going to talk about on this. There's so much to regarding individual performances against Newcastle. In fact, I'm going to touch. I said last thing on two things. Firstly, I mentioned Ceballos earlier and how nice it was to see him on the team sheet. I had such a good year. I said, right, I'm going to really closely watch Ceballos here, and I ended up closely watching Mesut Ozil as well during the game, and the reason for that was the way that they were linking up, and they linked up so well. And Ceballos, and I tweeted about it, I think, really brought the best out of Ozil, and I think it was probably Ozil's best performance of the season for me. I honestly think it was.
I think so.
And I think that Ceballos was the reason for that, because
he's somebody to play with.
Well, I've said all along about Ceballos being the perfect player, haven't I? To play in front of the back four, to take the ball and progress it up the field, because he's so press resistant. He's really quick on the turn. He hasn't got loads bags of pace, but like I said, you don't need bags of pace to play that sort of role. You don't need to be Liverpool Christie to play that sort of role, because look at Michael Carrick is a good example. he had no pace ever. But he was one of United's best midfielders, wasn't he, at the time, throughout that period, because of the way that he controlled the ball, turned and laid the ball. He always made the right decision and the right pass at the right time. Ceballos is more talented, much more talented than Michael Carrick, but he could do a very similar role a lot better. But he doesn't need to have that burst of pace, but he can sort of turn and get away from a player and give himself a couple of yards very, very, very quickly and very well. And the way that he was linking up with Ozil was quite brilliant, I thought, to be perfectly honest. And I think as a fan base, we need to reassess the way we see Ozil now, because he's not going to be the same player that he was. That's clear to see. But because we're going to have him for the rest of his contract, and I will always say that he's not going anywhere until his contract runs out, we need to see him the way that he's playing now, because it's so difficult, because I change my mind every fucking week about this guy. But last week I said he's had his chance and he needs to be dropped. But after that performance at the weekend, you say, well, he still has got things to offer the team, hasn't he? But he's not. But he's not this. No. I'm not going to. I'm not going to fall into the trap. I promise you now.
It sounds like you're falling right in. It sounds
no.
Like you're in bed taking your underwear off right now. What it sounds like.
I don't kiss frogs, but he's we're stuck with the guy, right? But and we can't just bench him for the rest of his contract. We've got to use him. But if we're going to have to, then we need to reassess the way we watched him play, because he needs to be. I don't know how to sort of say it. He needs to just be that link, and just release these ball to the front three. Because I tell you now, in a season or two's time, our front three is going to make the Liverpool current front three look ordinary. If we continue under Arteta and if we hold on to these great players, our front three is going to be quite incredible, to be perfectly honest. So he needs to be the person just to release that ball to these guys, and we need to stop worrying about him assisting and scoring. That's the problem I've got, because I don't think he's going to give us that anymore. I hope we do, but he's going to get in the team and we're stuck with him. So I think we just need to reassess the way that we judge him, personally.
I mean, I agree with you, but in the same respect, like I think this was his perfect game. Like I said it, I think I said in one of the chats I'm in before the game started. I'm like, if Ozil's going to play well, it's going to be this game. Just the way Newcastle was set up and the way they played, and even during the game, I was like, oh, he's definitely going to have a good game, just because like we kind of I'm not saying on purpose. We definitely didn't give him chances on purpose, but we kind of let them. Maximum kind of got in a little bit, started creating a little bit. They started giving our defense some stuff to work on, and then we got like, oh wait, fuck, Arsenal left the taking. So they kind of pushed up a little more towards us. Then midfield kind of pushed up a little as well, and Ozil just right what he does best. He got right between midfield and defense, and he kind of just he did a good job. He linked up play, he made some good moves. Don't get me wrong, but this was the perfect game for him to play. Wow. Just you're playing against a very weak attacking team, but a team that still tries to attack anyway. And defensively, they're not like their goalie's really good, but defensively they're not the best. And like I said, just they were going to worry about the flanks more than the middle, and they gave Ozil all the room to run, and nobody marked him, which is kind of what with the Chelsea game, and I forget the other team we played. All they did was just mark him and then took Ozil out of the game. They didn't do that. They're like, no, we're not going to mark Ozil. We'll let him do whatever the fuck he wants. And that's what happened. That's the thing. No team's gonna do this to us again. I don't. Maybe they think Ozil get off to retirement home. Maybe they won't. They'll let him do whatever he wants. But this is just the perfect game for him. And I was kind of annoyed at some of these Ozil people. Like he's back. It's just like the perfect game for him to shine. I'm not saying he's not gonna do this again. I hope he does. I hope he proves me wrong and shuts me up. But it was the perfect recipe for him to have a good game, and I think it's nothing. Yeah. And also, before I let you talk, shout out to Stanley Man. Ceballos needs to use that man bun. It was disgusting to watch.
If he carries on playing like that, he can have a David Seaman ponytail for all I'm concerned.
Let's not get crazy here. No. Cut that shit.
Anyway,
That
for
was-
those that are listening to the audio and they're not watching live, just want to say a big welcome to Rowan Birdie. How are you, Rowan? Have I pronounced that correctly? Rowan? Oh, he's frozen.
You mispronounced his name, and now that's what happens.
How
We'll come back to
name?
Rowan. Unfortunately, if you drop out of the stream and try and just rejoin, hopefully that'll correct your problem, Rowan. But joining us
I'm
late.
back.
Oh, hello. Can you hear?
Hi there. I
Ah.
just heard the last 2 seconds. So yeah, I'm back.
Oh, great. Well, you're still frozen on the screen, but I'm glad to be able to hear you anyway. Welcome.
Oh, okay. Oh, is it? I might be frozen, or I'm sitting like super still.
Yes, exactly.
One of them.
You're really still. I'll give you
You've
credit
been
for that one.
the world champion at musical statues.
Oh yeah.
Welcome to the show anyway.
Jeez.
Thank you so much.
I'm very glad to have you on board.
It's great to be here. Yes, because I've seen a couple of these podcasts and we've exchanged messages. Absolutely love the humor. Some guys have real great positivity here, unlike what goes around, with Arsenal fans. So, it's great to be part of this.
Absolutely. Now, I don't know whether you've caught a lot of the show thus far, but we've been sort of talking about the Newcastle game. We're not the sort of podcast, as you know, that goes through all the finer points of a match, but we're just picking out a few areas that we've covered. Eddie Nketiah. We're just touching on Ceballos, as you may have heard, but I also wanted to touch on the omission of Guendouzi, and Stan's put a comment on that as well. Now, I think that it's been lost in translation, personally, about this behaviour business. I don't know what you think, but when Arteta said that a part of it was down to his behaviour, I don't think it's like he's been a very, very naughty boy. I think it's like maybe his attitude in training, blah blah blah. I don't think it's the way that it's come across in the press. I did have, and I'll just quickly go on and I'll let you all talk about it, but I did have an issue with Guendouzi. When he first joined, he quite quickly had his 18th birthday, and I couldn't find many more people that saw this video, but Arsenal posted a video of him on his 18th birthday where he was in a limousine and he was leaning out the window like some kind of fucking, lad on his way to a prom, and all these girls were coming over to him and he was like high-fiving and sort of fist pumping all these fans.
That's my boy.
I at the time I thought, oh fucking no, because I genuinely thought at that point he is already
Not another Lingard.
Yes, exactly. I just thought, someone else that's bought his own hype. He already thinks he's made it. And I thought, oh, jeez, I really didn't want to see that. That video got taken down, and I can't find it anywhere now. But it was posted by Arsenal. And I don't know whether someone's made them take it down or whether they thought, we shouldn't have posted that. But I saw that, and it stuck with me. But I thought that he'd sort of... through his performances on the pitch, which I love more and more and more, the more I see it, I thought he sort of put that to bed. But then when I saw these comments about Arteta and the way that they've sort of taken those comments, there is part of me that, I genuinely think that it is lost in translation, but there is part of me that is a little bit worried that maybe he is believing his hype a little bit, and he does think he's made it, and he is lauding it all over the people and whipping people's arse with his towel in the changing rooms. So, Rohan, am I pronouncing that right, Rohan? Is it
Rohan? Yes.
Rohan.
Yes,
Rohan.
right.
What? He was left out of the team. Now, I think, and the squad as a whole, in the previous game against Burnley, so was Pepe. It hasn't really meant anything in the long run. So what do you think about all these, what's been happening with him?
Of course. I mean, so let's deal with Guendouzi as a character, right? Like, he's come in from absolutely nowhere, and nobody expected anything of him really, and then he's actually made it because his performances were great compared to the midfield that we had, and especially the passion that he showed. But the major issue that I had with him at some point was in terms of the performances as well, he let it go a little bit too far at times, because it was almost like every fight that was happening, he wanted to get involved. He wanted to show that
My boy.
he's Vieira or Keane or someone like that, but he's hardly played like 6 months. So that has sort of happened, and then he started off the season really well, and then it dipped off. And that sort of a guy, sometimes there's frustration that builds up, and that can come out in negative ways on the training ground, on the pitch, and especially if you haven't been involved since Arteta's come in. The Torreira, Xhaka, midfield has been doing really well, and you never know how he's been responding to that. So given that, and his attitude and his fiery stuff, maybe he's gone into tackles a bit too hard when it was just training, and that's his passion speaking. But Arteta maybe expects him to be a squad player, to learn the bits from seniors in the team or from experienced guys like Shaka. As much as everybody would like to make fun of him, I mean, he's really turned it up since Arteta's come around. And maybe that's the sort of issue that's come around. I mean, or at least I hope it's more of the passion that's come around rather than him going partying in London since Arteta's there.
I think so. I don't think that. I like to think that it's not the latter. I don't think. I really don't think so. He dipped earlier on in the season because purely, and I can say this with a lot of not authority, that's the wrong word, of course I can't think of the word, but I genuinely think that he did because of Emery, and he was given no guidance at all. He was allowed, I've said this before, but he was allowed to do what the hell he wanted on the pitch, and he was desperate for a coach to take him under his wing and give him some guidance, because if it had gone on much longer, he would have picked up too many bad habits that he probably would have just stuck with, and would be too hard to get out of his system. So I think Arteta's come in at just at the right time, and I think his management in that way of controlling the squad and the players within it is absolutely fantastic. I really genuinely think that he knows when to take a player out of the team at the right time. He knows when to pop them back in, because we were all doing this and saying the same thing again after the Burnley game. Why is Pepe not playing? And he got taken out of the team again with Lacazette as well at the weekend, and he got taken out, popped back in, and the last 5 minutes was a different Lacazette, wasn't it? And we all saw that. He was absolutely determined not to lose his place again to Eddie Nketiah, and he'd probably be straight back in the team again against the Greeks. So I'm quite comfortable with Guendouzi having been taken out of the team, just to put him back in his place, take him down a peg or two, and I've got no doubts that he'd probably be back in again against Olympiacos, and especially against Portsmouth as well.
No, definitely. Come on. Now, I actually, when the last came out, before I even knew, obviously, about this problem, I thought this was the worst game for him to play anyway. I thought he was going to have like a shitty game. Just by the way Newcastle plays, they don't allow a lot of long balls, and Guendouzi likes the long pass, and Guendouzi really likes a lot of freedom. He wasn't going to get it because I think they were too busy giving it to Ozil. So I thought Guendouzi was not suited for this game at all. But I think the reason why I'm not worried about him and Arteta going off, but I think he's just not mature. He's the guy in the classroom when the teacher says penis, he's the one doing like a little schoolgirl. I mean, he's not mature enough. And yeah, I mean, you see, I forget what it was. There's a video of them in Dubai. They're celebrating something. I don't know, but someone took a video of them at their hotel having dinner. There's like sparklers everywhere. what do you know? You see Gazza's big flowing hair, just fucking his dumbass face is giggling, wiggling a table napkin, and just acting like a complete idiot. And that's just what he does. And then I think he does it really well, and I think it could help us. Not really acting like an idiot, but just winding fans up and like being that asshole that we desperately need. Why I love him so much, but we need him, and I think Arteta knows that we need him, but Arteta's like, all right, we need to like calm down, because I think it kind of spills onto the training ground, which is kind of like why there's no need for him to be like that. I think he needs to have some kind of maturity and seriousness when it comes to training, because he's got to get better. He's not a perfect player. Just because he's an asshole on the field doesn't mean he has to play week in and week out. But I definitely think that he needs to get humbled a little bit, and Arteta needs to kind of sit him down and be like, all right, like, you got to work on some things. You can't just be yelling out penis and, like, you know, ball tapping players on the training ground. Yeah, like you said, in the locker room, whipping people with towels. Like, that's definitely does that. I'm not like,
100%. Yeah, I can see that. And he'd be walking around literally like, you know, Conor McGregor waving his arms like that, you know, with his cock and balls swinging around doing the willycopter.
And I love the sport, but with Arteta in there, like he needs to mature, and I think that'll make him a better player. Like, I love his childish attitude to an extent, because I have that. I'm like very similar. Penis makes me laugh too, but not the point. Yeah, I think he needs some kind of seriousness to his game, because he needs to get better as a player. I mean, he's still not there, and I don't think he's right now. I don't know if I would guarantee him. I mean, I definitely would guarantee a place in our 11 right now, but I think he's right there, and like on top of him being right there, like skill wise, and like the way Arteta wants to test him tactically, the way he just winds crowds up, the way he winds players up, we need that.
Yeah, I mean, he is the typical Diego Costa sort of a player who
Robbie
you
Savage
don't want to play against.
Yeah, right.
Like you just don't want to play against him. But right now, with his skill set, I don't think that he is ahead of the pecking order in terms of getting in the team, ahead of Xhaka, Torreira. You know, he doesn't have that passing range of Xhaka. He doesn't have that defensive ability of
Torreira. I think he's got better passing than Xhaka. I don't know what people see. I'm sorry.
I don't know if he can ping.
I think he's terrible.
I mean, Xhaka he has that ability to ping those 50-yard passes on a consistent basis. It's just that he's too slow on it. Guendouzi I feel that he plays a lot of small passes, and his main asset is just driving the team along. But I mean, that shouldn't, if we require an 18, 19-year-old to drive Arsenal forward, and to motivate us to win games, then we're in deeper trouble than, you know, personnel that we have, you know.
Yeah, but
listen, just one thing. I honestly don't think that age should come into any of this, because you look at the way Wayne Rooney was when he was 16, 17 on the pitch. You know, he owned the place already, and I don't think that his age is anything to do with it. I think that his character and personality just lead him to be able to do that sort of thing. And I do agree with you, Ryan, that his passing is quite an underrated thing. Just look at that pass he did against Tottenham. You know,
some of his passes this year are better than Xhaka's passes.
That was an incredible ball.
Yeah, his passes have been so good. And
he's just been. He needs to be on a leash. And he needs to be more disciplined in terms of his role within the team.
Yeah, exactly. Positioning, and in terms of goal, I think I think that's why I think this is like you said, it's the perfect time Arteta came in. He needs almost like a makeover. And it's all right, but you know, he needs that coaching. He needs that father figure, that dad that's gonna put him on his shoulder and be like, hey son, it's okay. Because that's what he's kind of like with Emery, and like just the way he's been like. I mean, it's a little dramatic, but the way he's been acting out, it almost seems like he's like that kid growing up where like he didn't have a dad, so he's just a complete asshole. And then all he needs is like an older guy just to be like, hey, like it's okay. He needs a father figure in his life. I think with Arteta, like taking him under his wing, telling him what to do, like positionally and just technically on the ball, I think that he'll kind of like I don't know how to explain it, but it'll kind of encompass him more as an overall player, and hopefully he can still like provide that sharpness and that roughness to him that we need for him to wind people up.
He's another one as well that I'm struggling slightly the way that he fits in exactly to a 4-2-3-1 under Arteta. I think that he is much more better suited to a midfield three.
Yep. I agree. Yeah.
And this is the difficulty. And I do think, and well, I don't, I'm hoping actually. I don't think. I'm just hope that the way that Arteta's playing at the moment is to complement the players that he's got at his disposal, and I hope that he's building up towards, in his mind, starting next season with getting the squad that he wants to play with a view to playing a 4-3-3. I really do hope that, to be perfectly honest. And this leads me, and I'll come to you, Mr. Arsenal Ryan, on this one first. This leads me into my another point I really want to talk about, and that is when Kieran Tierney is fit. Because I've got my definite thoughts on this, about what would you say would happen to the team? Would he come back into the team, and what would that mean to Saka? And what would you do in that situation? And I'll be back in just one moment. If you give us.
At this moment in time, there's no way he can drop Saka at the moment from the role he's playing, because he's doing the job that he's been asked to do. But I'll take in consideration as well the injury that Tierney's had. There's no need to rush him back. Just slowly and gradually in the odd cup game, work his fitness back in. If you have, there's no need to do our first choice is back now, back in the squad you go sort of thing. Saka is doing a perfect job. He's not even in his position either. And whilst he's happy playing there, getting game time, just keep him there for now. And let Tierney come back at a reasonable pace, that the injuries aren't going to come back and haunt. Because we've seen throughout the years, not just at Arsenal, other clubs, a key player gets injured, comes back into training, and because they might be a part of the first team, they're thrown back in and they get another injury, and there's another one, and there's another one. It's longer term. So I'd rather they take their time bringing him back, integrating back into the squad, and then when they do bring him back, give Saka a chance in the winger's role.
Well, yeah, that's what he said. He said that he wants to succeed at Arsenal as a winger. So
yeah, but I'm saying there's no rush to bring Kieran back at the moment.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
No.
And once he is ready to come back in, you can still play Saka, but give him the run at the wing, at the left wing.
Yeah, and like if you really want to go down to like emergency situations, we do have that guy from Southampton we signed, and if you really want to get crazy, Maitland now plays left back too. Like once or twice he's played, he can do it if we need him. I mean, I don't want to, but I think when I was podcasting with Arsenal fans, we were talking about how like should Arteta experiment, and at first I was like, I don't want to get linked too crazy, but then I went fucking Frankenstein this bitch, and I'm like, no, we gotta do all these things. And one thing I thought of, I didn't say it on the pod, but like if Team were to come back and Saka is still doing his thing, why not play? It's gonna sound nuts. I know you guys don't want to laugh at me. Why not play Tierney at back three as center back, because he can't play it. He can't play left center back. We need him to. And Saka as a left wing back, that'll just further progress Saka, and that'll further what he wants to do. I mean, yeah, left wing back, kind of a little bit of difference, but I think this is the season Arteta needs to experiment. And I think with our talent, even the young guys, I think our upcoming talent, we could still make top five. And yes, top five, not top four. Fuck you, Man City. We can get there. It's a tough road. Don't get me wrong, but I forgot about Kolasinac. Whoops, he's on the team too. I totally forgot about him.
I know. I totally agree with what Stan's put, saying that For me,
I like
T-
that. Yeah.
Tierney has
Oh,
got to,
well.
Tierney's got to come straight back into the team for me. He will go on to prove himself to be a top class left back. I've got no doubt. He's also our best crosser of the ball in the squad. Pepe
Saka's pretty
is the best dead ball specialist, but it's different than crossing. When you need to cross a ball on the run, there's no one better than Kieran Tierney for me. He's absolutely devastating, and I think that he could build up an incredible partnership with both Saka and Martinelli on the left wing. And Martinelli and Saka are both 18 years old, let's not forget, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with rotating them in the team, and it'll do them both an incredible amount of good in their development, as far as I'm concerned. There's no one. Everyone knows what I feel about Martinelli. There's no one that loves him more than I do, and I just want to sit in with him on my lap in the evening and just give him a cuddle.
I don't want to let the viewers know what you were texting one of our chats that we were in after the game. I won't get
Exactly.
but he was saying some pretty interesting things.
I just want to adopt him, to be perfectly honest. And just so because he's such a. But I think that it's right, and Tierney, you just can't ignore Tierney. And who was it that's just put a comment? No, it wasn't Stan. I think it was Tony Turner. Yeah, with Saka and Sayad, I'm not sure I'd play Tierney again this season. I mean, I don't honestly. I mean, Tony, I respect your opinions a lot. You know I do on Twitter, but I just don't understand that comment whatsoever. Saka has been incredible, but I honestly, especially I think Arteta thinks this as well. He wants a proper left back and a proper right back, and he openly said that Saka's not a left back and AMN is not a right back, and he's gone out and bought Cedric, which proves that he's not happy with AMN at the back, and a specialist left back, especially one that's just as talented as Kieran Tierney, I think is very important. And then let's face it, they're two of the most important positions in any team nowadays, full-backs. So you need a specialist there, and I think Saka is all of his good work. Let's face it, all his good work is done at the sharp end of the pitch. So he needs to be pushed forward and just rotated. And it also depends massively on what happens in the summer with Aubameyang and Lacazette. Because if one of those is sold, I've got no qualms whatsoever with just not buying anyone and just using Martinelli to replace. Because I don't
sell people. I'm excited for summer because that means we are getting rid of some.
Well,
trimming that fat, baby.
Let me just quickly say, I don't mean not buying anyone full stop. I mean not buying a replacement for Aubameyang or Lacazette, because I don't want anyone to step in on the toes of Martinelli coming through, and he needs to be played as a forward. Sorry, go on, Ryan.
No, I just think that we need to sell as many players as we can this window. Just hearing us talk about all these different things we can do, and then we're forgetting about Kolasinac, and then we're moving Saka up like that. We need to sell. There's every match day. I open starting 11 obviously, but I look more at the bench a lot of times because I want to see who's in the squad. Because that's very telling, and B, it's like we have people that are not in the squad that you can even consider starting. So, like for instance, AMN, when Arteta came, AMN was probably one of our best, if not our best player, when Arteta came in. He's not even in the max squad now. So I don't know what that means, but the fact that that's a thing, like we're gonna sell people this summer. We're probably gonna sell people more than we're gonna buy. Which, at first, if you told me that, like before Arteta came in, I would have probably cut your neck. I would have thrown. I would have been so upset. But seeing what he did with Mustafi and Luis, it's exciting, to have Mustafi in the 11 week in, week out and not be terribly afraid of like a red card or a penalty.
It's mad, isn't it?
It's refreshing, and he's German, so makes me extra happy. But yeah, so I think that we still need to work on our defense. Don't get me wrong, but I think this summer is more of just clearing out funds and then maybe buying that world class player that we need.
But did you hear me on the Arse Brothers Hot Topic show before
That was
Arteta was even appointed? And I went on a rant about our back four, and I said at that particular point that defending, especially Louise, and saying that any centre back in world football will look crap with the way that we are set up under our, Emery.
Yep.
And Louise is not a bad player, and I was backing him up and saying if the team is set up properly under a decent manager, a decent coach, any sort of bang average defender would be able to look 10 times the player that they are because of the way that the team's set up. Because the way that we were playing at that point, there was a massive chasm in the middle of our field, and the opposition was just allowed to just run up at our defence. And even Virgil van Dijk would struggle under that kind of intense pressure against what we had that second half against Watford, for example. It was just pathetic. 30 odd shots against our goal.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, so right now with the Saka situation, he's in a purple patch, and long may it continue. But let's be honest, it's going to dip sometime, soon, because he's putting up such incredible numbers. So I don't think that we need to worry about that. I think we need to leverage that purple patch for as long as it lasts, and that will probably coincide. That dip will probably coincide with Tyne coming back, and Tyne goes in. And in terms of our defense now, I feel that we're quite sorted in terms of our left and right back. The first choice, we need depth there. In terms of centre back, we've signed Saliba, which is another question, because I don't know how much he's played. He's played like 15 games this time, but we get a stat all the time on Twitter that every time he's played, he's kept a clean sheet in like 99% of the matches that he's played, but he's played only 15 games, which is itself worrying, and the most.
It's because he broke his foot. He broke a bone in his foot, didn't he?
Yeah.
So he's got to do it on a consistent basis, and he's got to, as long as it's not a recurring injury, as long as he does it on a consistent basis, he also needs to get used to it. But that's one centre back. And then the second one, we've got to seal that second centre back. David Luiz is definitely a good player. He's played it at the highest level for Chelsea. He's won titles, so he's experienced in that way. But he's not the future. We need to build for the next 4-5 years, and that partnership.
I'll tell you what. If we get up on Meccano alongside Saliba, I'm gonna soil myself. I'm gonna soil myself, and it's going to be messy. Seriously.
I don't know if Saliba's going to start for us, though. You think Saliba's going to come into the team and immediately start?
I think he probably will. Yeah, I honestly think he will.
We'll see. And I'm not saying he's good. He wasn't good before we loaned him out. But let's not forget, we loaned out Mavropanos, and he's playing really good. Yeah,
I'm shocked, actually.
It's right below the Bundesliga, but Bundesliga 2. But if you see some of his highlights, he's killing it.
But at the same time, you want cover, so you don't want just what your main pairing. But obviously, because you got injuries at the season, you want your backups. And this zone was perfect for Mavropanos to go out, get some game time at first team level, and prove himself to Arteta. It was like last season at Fulham, got sent out under Emery on loan. He's come back a completely different looking player. Also,
I forgot about James.
There was a point to prove. He's continued that up to his injury. He continued that form. So it's just all about now getting four top centre backs, first choice 2 and 2 backups, and just go with it.
Tony, if you see his highlight video, he's making some really good, smart plays. I know he's not playing against the best competition. And he's not. Someone who watches the Bundesliga pretty religiously, and my German team is actually in Bundesliga too, Stuttgart. I know the level of competition isn't the best, but he's making very smart, very good IQ plays. He made 2 goal line clearances.
Did you see the pace though? The pace he had to get back, that was incredible.
Yeah,
that was really, really shocking because I didn't think he had that in him.
But again, I mean, you could say, yeah, like say he's playing at his level, fine, cool. But right now he's on loan. He's an Arsenal player. So even if we don't think he's good enough,
well,
again, sell him. We have so many people who are going to sell this summer.
Exactly. I honestly think that we've loaned him out to put him in the shop window. I really do.
Which I'm okay with.
And again, I'm happy with that. Yeah, I'm happy with that because I don't. Unless he really does step it up and shows that, wow, I mean, God, we can't do without this guy anymore, then fine. But I think it's just a smart move, just to get him out playing football, just to advertise him that he's for sale. Because
fair for him, he had that really good game for us against Man U. And then what happens? We're like, oh shit, this guy's good. He gets hurt. He's out for, I don't even know, he's out for fucking months. Comes back, doesn't look quite right. We don't really know what's going on. And finally, everyone just gave up on him. Like, oh, get him out of here. He never really got back to his full self if he had that injury. So, I mean, we don't know what he's at now. We don't know what he's like because now that he's playing supposedly 100%. Yes, I know, Liga 2, but again, it's just more food for thought, more another play that we need to think about going forward. Whether even if we do sell him, which honestly, if we get the right amount of money, I'm all for selling. I'm not saying bring him back in the team. He should be considered as a starting center back for us. But I'm just saying that we have all these people, all these moving pieces. We need to figure out what sticks, what doesn't. We need to sell and get rid of it, raise funds. Because if we want to get back into the conversation of like potentially winning the Premier League, getting to Champions League, winning Champions League, we need to buy those one or two world-class players. Because right now, like I think we have a good squad in the top 5, but to like win the Premier League, even winning Europa seems a little tough. Not saying we can't do it, we definitely can do it. But we're not Europa League. We want to be in the Champions League, so we need to buy those world-class players. And to be honest, I know you're going to say Martinelli, but right now we don't have any. I don't really think about anything. He's like on the edge of world class, but we need to really buy like someone that exactly will make you sell your pass engine. And right now we need to raise funds for that.
Well, does anyone actually know whether Mari has been named in the squad for Olympiacos?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely desperate to see him play, and I watched the whole game, the Liverpool v Flamengo.
Pretty good.
It was incredible. I've said it before. I really like Tim Vickery as a pundit, and he is raving about the guy, having seen an awful lot of him. He's been talking about him for the last few months, rather than just after the Club World Cup final. But after watching that game as well, I think he did a lot of really good things, and obviously they only lost the game, kept a clean sheet against Liverpool until injury time, and I really can't wait to see him play alongside David Luiz, because I think it could give us an extra dimension to our play.
Maybe you play alongside Mustafi.
I will never ever come round to Mustafi being a good player. I respect him an awful lot because for what he's done, coming back and showing that mental strength to come back from what he has done, and he's playing well. And I will always say, yeah, he had a really good game, but I will never accept him because of what he can do. And he will, that it's only around the corner with Mustafi.
I mean, that's the thing. I said this on Twitter. I think I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm defending Mustafi, but I don't think he's a bad player. I know daggers are coming at me right now. I don't think he's that bad of a defender. I just think he makes that one mistake in the game.
No, he's not.
He gives the team a goal, which obviously is devastating and it could be terrible. And the way we've been playing, like pre-Arteta, like that one goal is game over. But defending, he's smart. He moves the ball well. He works hard. He just sometimes he tries to make that hero call, make that hero tackle.
You'll never get that out of him. You'll never get the mistake out of him, though, and it would just be our luck, right? Just our luck, right? This is Arsenal through and through. We get to the Europa Cup final. He's had an amazing end of season, and he gets chosen to play in the Europa Cup final, and he Mustafis, and we lose the cup, and we don't get into Europe, the Champions League.
Back to kill him.
That would happen, though, wouldn't it? That is Mustafi all over. He could have, between now and the rest of the season, he could have 9 or 10 out of 10 games for the last 12 games of the Premier League season and all the way through the Europa League, and he could even win us the FA Cup. But when the push comes to the shove, and we've got the chance of going to the Champions League, he will Mustafi.
No, yeah, that's why I try to defend him, and that's why
that's the problem.
We do need to get rid of him, and I don't think he's good enough for us. But like, I just hope that teams kind of see that like he is a good player. He just makes that like worst case scenario, hit the red button, panic decision in the game that'll just screw you. And hopefully, teams like lesser teams look over that, or like an Italian league team, or a Spanish league team where it's like not as much of a thing.
I just hope that I hope that someone comes in and buys him in the summer after they have a few good games now in the first team. Now, Rohan, can you read what's on the screen there? You can see the message. Can you answer that for Stan? Because I certainly got an answer for that one.
I think I know your answer.
I mean, Mari, let's see how he plays. But like everyone's saying here, it's not about buying one player or having one quality centre back. It's about having a squad, and whether Mari plays and Saliba needs some time to come in, and Meccano he can play, or whether there is any other combination. But we need to go for that quality. Like we said, let's say. Socrates in some time needs to go, because he's in his 30s.
He's already gone.
David Luiz, yeah, it seems like he's already gone. David Luiz at some point needs to go. Mavropanos, I don't know how good he's going to be. I've seen that, a 2-minute clip on Twitter and on Instagram, where he does the goal line clearance, but I can't say that I've watched his games per se. So I don't know how he's going to do. Holding is someone that we haven't spoken about, and we were raving about him.
I like him, and I've got high hopes for him still. I really do.
He was the guy who was the ball playing, player before we got, David Luiz and, all of this, and before he got injured. Last season, until Manchester United game, which is when he got injured, he was like our most important centre back. So, he needs to come back in. But again, you go for the world-class players. There's some players who, if become available or if you can get, theoretically, it doesn't matter whether you have a player who's playing really well at the highest level. You just go in and get him. For example, we went and got Aubameyang, even though we had Lacazette, and Aubameyang better than Lacazette. Let's be honest. But still, the Arsenal move would have been that we have Lacazette, we don't need Aubameyang, but we went and got him. So when these players, if there's a sniff, we've got to go get them.
I absolutely bang on, totally agree, and I think Upamecano is one of those moments where you just got to get it done, because if he goes alongside Saliba, they could be our pairing for the next 10 years.
Exactly.
10 years they could play together, and they could be the centre-back pairing for France for the next 10 years as well. Yeah. And they must know each other from like the French underage groups growing up. I'm sure they must know each other because they've both been within the French setup and Clairefontaine school. So they would strike up a good partnership. I would very much advocate keeping hold of Luiz just to the end of his contract, to the end of next season, because I think his guidance would be invaluable for them as well. I think he's been, from the moment he joined us, I said this when in the close season in the summer, when we signed him, I said he could be our captain, and I was laughed out the street saying you can't put him as captain. Look, it's David Luiz. Also, you can't do it because he's he's only just joined us. But he's been our captain anyway throughout since he's joined us, or in all but name. And you can see the kind of effect he's got on the squad. Just the fun factor he gives. You've seen all the pranks he's been doing whilst they've been away in Dubai. But his organisation as well on the pitch has been there all season. But it's only now that people have actually started noticing it, because people didn't actually want to look at our defence during under Emery and see what they were doing. See, but he's been doing it all season. He's been the one organising and shouting and pointing and getting people organised on the pitch. And people are recognising that now. And he's a very important player to the squad. So I still will keep him. And like what you said, Rohan, I've got a lot of faith in Callum Chambers because I can see a very good cultured defender there. And exactly the same as Bellerin. I knew, and people need to realise, we're not going to see the best of him until next season either. Because there was, Tim Stillman did a podcast with the Arsenal ladies, and he interviewed one of the girls who had had one or two cruciate ligament problems, and he also interviewed a top surgeon who'd done the surgery on those players as well. And he said himself, the surgeon, don't expect people to, when they actually start coming back into the team, that's only the start of their rehabilitation.
Yeah.
And it's going to take a few months after that to get back to normal. So you need to allow 2 years. 2 years, he said, 18 months to 2 years. So I still see a very, very good defender, a very good cultured ball-playing defender in Callum Chambers. So I don't want to... Rob Holding, sorry. So I want us to hold on to Rob Holding.
Yeah.
And we've also got Callum Chambers, who I really like as well. But he shouldn't be anything really more than a squad player.
Yeah.
But we've got a lot of depth. We definitely need to get rid of Socrates, 100%. He's never been up to this standard.
Isn't he like? Is his contract expired at the end of the year, or is it next year?
I think he's got 1 year left in the summer.
I think it was next year.
Oh, but hold on. I just want to answer Sam's question real quick. I'm not saying no to I don't want to go, but the question is, if you don't want to buy, who should we buy? So let's say he plays well, we keep him. Who that money is going to go to who? Like who's
I would, if we don't get Upamecano, this is my point, and I'll just very quickly do this, and everyone else can just. If we don't get Upamecano, I wouldn't get anyone else. I would put all the money into Grealish.
Grealish and Partey, of course.
And Partey. I'm not being. You said one player. I would. You know what I think about Thomas Partey. but I think that in our situation with the squad that we've got, Grealish is actually more important than anyone else.
Yeah, I agree. A tough English captain that has good Guendouzi qualities. How can you not love him? And it's the only thing that's tough where I almost don't think we could ever get someone like him is he's Villa through and through. I can't see.
He is, yeah.
If they got relegated, maybe, but did he grow up? I don't know. All I know is he's a huge.
He was born a stone's throw from the ground. He's always been a Villa fan. But
now it's got a case of Premier League football. If they went down, that might be what sways into by Villa. I'm off now.
Yeah.
I think that he would go to a club as well where he is almost certainly guaranteed a starting place every week. And there's been lots of talk of places like City and blah, 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 blah. I mean, we all know what's happening with City at the moment, but I honestly think that he'd be attracted to coming to Arsenal. We're still one of the biggest clubs in the world, believe it or not. People seem to have forgotten that. And yes, we're going through a bit of a downtime, but everyone who's not Stevie Wonder can see that we're actually on massive improvement situation at the moment. And it's an exciting time to join us again.
Yeah. Now, I'll ask, what do you? Someone brought, I think it was Stan brought it up. What do you guys think of Jonathan Tah, who we're linked with?
I honestly don't know the guy. I'm going to stand back from this one.
I kind of hope we get him. Not hope we get him, but I think he's cheaper than Upamecano, and I think he did the job. He's 6'4". He's so tall. He'd be our tallest defender by far if we get him. He's got. I wouldn't say he's fast, but he's very agile, and he's calm. But he's aggressive, which I don't. If he's playing Arteta, I think he'll be phenomenal. He'd be a great buy. I'm not sure how much we're gonna pay for him because I think he's up there with Upamecano. I think Upamecano's better. If I had to pick, I'd probably pick Upamecano. But if we're getting a discount with Tah, I definitely think that's the way to go. But It just depends on, like, I think who we buy in the summer depends on who we sell. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, because Arteta says he already has plans on who we're buying. He's already made kind of the first, calls to the teams and who he wants and how much and all that mumbo jumbo. But I think we need to just sell, and I think based on who we sell can really dictate who we could buy. Because I think we're at the point now, kind of what I've been harping on for the last 20 minutes. But depending on who we sell it, we just need to get that world class player. So I think we need to raise
Well, this guy apparently has got a 33 million buyout clause, Jonathan Tah.
There you go. I mean, I would take that over what's Kano 60. Well, he's running his contract out, right? So,
I think we'd probably get him a bit
He's gonna
cheaper
be
than
in
that.
his
Yeah.
last year now in the summer. We might be able to get him. I don't know. We don't even dare to think that we can get somebody like a Koulibaly, right? Like he's not even.
I don't think he's that
mentioned
good.
here.
I don't know.
He's on his way down as well. He's on his way down.
Like
I think he's just a better Mustafi. He makes really bad decisions too. And
He's 20,
I mean,
28
because-
going on 29.
of own goals, like a lot. I've seen him score way more than I should. For a team I don't even want to play, I've seen him score a lot of own goals. Put it that way. But
I've got no doubt that the player's quality, but he's just a little bit too old now for me, because we need to look long term. And if we're going to spend
Right.
60 million quid, I'd much rather go for a 20-year-old than a 28, 29-year-old. And this guy, Jonathan Tah, he's good. He's 24.
yeah.
So I've just had a look now just to see how old he is. He's 24 and he's got a 33 million buyout clause. But
surprised if he gets a lot of game time in the Euros for Germany. I think he'll definitely be a starter by the time World Cup's going to be. Like 2 weeks.
I just can't get out of my head that you need to speculate to accumulate, and to spend 60 million quid on a 20-year-old who is renowned as being, and I've heard this on the what's it called, Stadio podcast, and I mentioned this before, that the two guys that do that they live in Berlin. They're German football specialists by far. They're absolutely incredible. It's a really good podcast. I recommend it. It's not all about German football, but they talk a lot about it. And they said openly that Upamecano has consistently been the best centre-back in the Bundesliga this season.
100%. Yeah, I agree.
So to get a 20-year-old, a player like that with his kind of size and stature, he really reminds me of Sol Campbell a lot in the way that he plays football. And even if you have to go for this guy, Jonathan Tah, for 33 million, who's 24, I would rather now do what Liverpool did and put all the money on a proper good centre back now. Pay 60 million for him now, when it could be literally, like I said, an amazing centre back partnership for the next decade.
The only team
I'd rather do it now.
The only team that can see less goals in the Bundesliga right now is Bayern Munich at 24 and Mönchengladbach at 24. Mönchengladbach still has a game to play, and RB Leipzig is only conceded 25. So their defense is winning them games. They do have Timo Werner, who I like a lot. I don't know if he'll probably fit under Arteta now. But we have so many strikers. I'm not really too worried about signing someone like him. But
it's a little bit speculative, isn't it?
They're a good team, and it's because he's their best defender by far, Upamecano. So
Well, it's still a bit speculative.
yeah,
Him and Saliba, but just imagine for 1 second that they both live up to their billing. They both live up to their expectations. Can you quite imagine how
I
good
just can't see starting
that would
Saliba
be?
the first year he comes to us. I think it doesn't make sense. We start him the first year he comes. I can see him like working him into the team gradually.
It doesn't have to be though, does it? If we've got
No,
them
you're right,
in the squad,
I just can't envision that. It's like too far away.
it would. I don't know. It just excites me a lot. The fact that how long have we not had a good defence for years and years and years? If we properly invested in our defence, and if we've got, I mean, it's just mouth-watering if you think about it. Bellerin, Upamecano, Saliba, and Tierney. I mean, that's probably the best defence in bloody Europe. On promise.
Yeah, the crazy part
Seriously.
is injuries, and our defense is still like since our test came in the team, Mustafi, Luis, AMN, Bellerin, who's not fully fit, and the multitude of left backs we had, and Saka, who's playing really well under Arteta. Our defense is good now, and now
I know.
we're buying, which I'm. Don't get me wrong. These players talking about, I definitely think we need to buy, but it's just crazy how this was such a concern to us, and then Arteta comes into the team, and what do we have? Like 3 clean sheets already. Like he's done. He's a miracle worker to an extent. Right? Our defense, he really is.
Definitely. I mean, I really think that defense is because defense is a team play, right? Like everybody's in it together, and there are teams that are much lower than us in terms of quality, who do much better than us in terms of their defense. Sheffield United. I don't think that they've got like they don't have a Virgil van Dijk, right? Like, but their defense has been better than us, or
Their team's been
in the
better than
past
us.
years, in the past years, it's been Leicester or someone else, like some of these other teams which have had, in terms of personnel, not as good, but they've been coached and drilled so well because their defensive midfield has been standing, in front of them and, not letting people just stroll in the park. That it's been such good organization. And as Arsenal fans, we've been used to good attacking football, but at least till Wenger's time, and then the defense was lacking because we just go bombing. We were down a couple of a couple of goals. We go bombing forward, and we concede 3, 4, 5, 6, and then now is the time that we see that, oh, if you've got defensive midfielders in front of you, you can probably like actually defend together, and so that's why we just need that stardust, that Virgil van Dijk sort of a player who can really organize, really play well when there's that one chance that you need that individual skill and presence of mind. That person gives us that, but other than that, we've got the other 3 or 4, including Leno, in defense. We just need that one more, and then maybe I think another defensive midfielder, because love Torreira, but he's the only one who's that specialist at our club right now. I mean, in my opinion, Guendouzi can sort of do that role, but he's not a defensive midfielder. And that's the position that we've never had, right? We're still replacing Gilberto Silva, right? And we've just about done that with Torreira, but we need someone else as well, Arsenal fans have been starved for so long in that area that we can't get enough of defensive players.
Well, this is what I mean. And if I wouldn't even mind if we did it over a longer period, like just literally splash out now the 60 million it would take to get Upamecano, for example, and then the following summer we go massive on the right player to replace Özil at the end of his contract. If we just need to be buying the right people. And there's one last thought on this, and who knows, what if this Pablo Mari turns out to be exceptional? Who knows? We haven't seen him play yet, have we? So let's give that guy a chance, because I'm very interested to see what he's like, because he looks very promising, and he's 26. You never know. He could be the answer, couldn't he, for the next 2 or 3 years? So I do trust. The one thing is now, I trust Arteta. I don't know whether Arteta was the real person that actually wanted to go after him, but I do think that it possibly was because of the Man City connection. He didn't actually cross over with Pablo Mari whilst he was at Man City. They both joined at the same time, but then immediately the next day or 2, Pablo Mari went on loan. So I don't think they know each other particularly personally, but what I would suggest is that the staff at Man City would have put a good word in for him potentially and say, look, we did have this guy, I'm sure he knows him, but and given a good word and said that you should go after this guy because he's good quality. So let's
And got to trust Edu as well,
yeah.
right?
Oh,
He's
do you
found
know what?
Martinelli.
Do you know what? I trust him more now that we've got Arteta because they obviously know each other, and I genuinely think that Edu would do his utmost to help Arteta and support him. I don't know. I'm not going to say anything about Raul because I don't trust that guy as far as I could throw him, and I don't. Well, I don't. I just don't like the guy. I like a lot of what he did in the summer, but a lot of what he's done since with Emery, and not. I think a massive amount of the respect I had for him after last summer went immediately when it came out that he wanted to give Emery a new contract in the summer. My respect from him went down the drain at that point,
Yeah.
and not sacking him when he should have done. Again, it's gone even worse. I'm going to move on now quickly because we've been going for so long and I need to finish up soon. Just very quickly, I'm going to go round. What kind of team do you think he's going to put out against the Greeks tomorrow? Let's start with you, Rohan.
See, I want him to put out, our first team. Ozil's not traveled, so he's not obviously going to be there. But apart from that, I want to go and win this tie in the first leg. This is the
Agree.
chance that we score a couple of away goals, and then we can handle this team in Olympiacos at home. But we need to get that lead in, not go in with a dodgy equal score, a low scoring draw or a 0-0 or something like that, and create pressure on ourselves, because this is our realistic chance of making it, and I don't think he's going to screw it up as well, because
No.
Arteta knows that that is the real avenue. So I want him to go full pelt, pick the first team, pick everyone who's fit and available, who played in the Newcastle game. I don't mind if he, uh, you know, he should start Lacazette, but even if he doesn't, it's fine, yeah. But Aubameyang probably needs to go up top then, and Martinelli needs to go, on the left. That's what I would maybe do, because another thing right there, a quick one, maybe you guys discussed that, but Aubameyang, one of the most lethal strikers in Europe, sort of gets wasted on the left. So either we do something with that situation to accommodate Lacazette and Aubameyang together, or Aubameyang plays over Lacazette for me, or something like that. So this is a combination, but attacking wise, we've got enough. Pepe, Aubameyang definitely play. Either Lacazette or Martinelli. Either way is fine. Lacazette going up
Yeah.
top and Abba there, or Martinelli on the left. Ozil's not going to be there, so that midfield three that you had spoken about, I would be fine with that if he was to play.
I
These three, and then our defense is what it is right now.
Yeah,
So
yeah, absolutely. I wonder about that. Whether he will go for a midfield three in this game. Ryan, Mr. Arsenal, what do you think? So you had your chance, Ryan. No, this is to me. I'm joking. Right. Go. Just give us your brief thoughts on that. What you think the lineup will be? Do you think he'll go strong?
I do think he goes strong. I think he should play Leno, not Martinez. Martinez, the last couple of games he's played, to me, you might disagree, look a bit suspect. And this Olympiacos away is a tough place to go, and I don't want us conceding goals. Because away goals is going to be crucial this time in general. I want us to come away with at least an away goal. If we can get a win, 1-0 win, that's great. We come back to the Emirates, finish the job. Because I know Arteta, who spoke throughout the show, we're barely conceding. So I will play Leno, just because he has looked suspect, and I don't want us conceding goals. I don't want us having to do it with last year.
I'm not sure he will though.
That's what I'm saying, because last year under Emery, first knockout round away, we got battered. But, well, we lost on nil side to Barcelona Varsov. Next round, after getting through that, Rennes away got absolutely battered. We should have been out at that time. I don't want that situation. I wanted to go full strength as much as full strength as possible. If not kill the time, but at least have an advantage going into the second leg.
Okay, Ryan, what about you? Arse Brothers, Ryan.
Okay. I wish we could play Leno every single minute of every single game of every single thing, but we're not. We're going to play Martinez. I'm never actually a big fan of him. I actually prefer Matt Macy over Martinez, but I won't get into that. I actually don't think we're going to play as strong of a team as you guys think. I think this is a very pivotal point in our season. We play at Olympiacos Thursday, we play Everton Sunday, and then we host Olympiacos the next Thursday. So this is a pivotal point where we're going to see does Emery want Emery. It's kind of like last season where people were like, oh, do we go for Europa or do we try to get top one in the Premier League? I think we're kind of at that turning point right now, even though Premier League is way farther out of the talk, but it's still a thing. Does Arteta go for it? Does he try to put a starting lineup, a strong lineup? Do we really want to put Europa on its back and just go for it, or do we kind of sort of prepare for everything? Not saying we put our strongest lineup against everything, but I don't know. I think definitely we'll get some game time. I don't know if Mustafi and Luis both start together. I think he'll split them up. We'll start one of them won't. Torreira's not playing, so I think Guendouzi could get a look. Just depends on him and Emery. Jesus Christ, I said Emery again. Depending on Arteta's riff. But like I said, it's a very pivotal point. I don't think Lacazette and Aubameyang both going to start either. I think they can split them up too.
I was going to say, I think Lacazette will start because he didn't start.
Yeah, one of us will definitely start.
Aubameyang will be benched. It'd be like a worst case scenario if we need him, sort of thing.
Yeah,
but why should it be that way, right? Like, why can't we get a lead in 60 minutes and then hook him out? Like,
it's going to be tough. We're not going to get. I don't think we're really going to lead Olympiacos away. It's a very tough ground to play in. But and what I wanted to mention was I was a huge because I thought we were going to bring this up. I didn't bring it up on the show, but I was kind of pissed at Aubameyang. I don't like Aubameyang on the left. He's terrible on the left. I kind of watched the game a little closer against Newcastle, and the way he was out left a little too much for my liking, but the way he played it was that Eddie kind of tracked back a little bit and kind of do a lot of hard work while Aubameyang kind of played inside left, and he had a lot more opportunities, I would say. So I kind of see why he plays Aubameyang on the left, just because of his tactics and the way he has Saka slide up the pitch, Aubameyang move over a little towards the center, and Eddie kind of plays a little more to the right and then a little more back. But again, it's.
But there were times that I saw him doing 1-2 with the center back, on the corner flag down our side, and that's not where you want Aubameyang. You want Aubameyang, running at defenses, trying to catch them offside.
I agree. That's not Arteta's tactics. That's not what he wants to do. Which I think Arteta. I think Aubameyang's best at exactly that, making runs, running at defenses. But that's not what Arteta wants the striker to do. He doesn't want the center forward to do that. He wants the center forward to come back and do all the work. So I don't know. We'll see. But I don't think it's that strong of a lineup. I really don't. But I don't know. I just think we're going to kind of prepare for Everton a little bit because we need to beat Everton. We need 3 points for Everton, and that's that. And I think I obviously want to win, don't get me wrong, but I think drawing out of Olympiacos isn't worst case scenario. So we'll see.
Well, I hope he goes full strength. I really do because. Yeah, we've just got to go for every angle this season. But if we're going to use Martinez on anything, FA Cup for me, and I would keep Leno in goal for the Europa League and the Premier League for sure. I don't know what. I'm wondering whether he is going to go 4-3-3 tomorrow. I think that would be a good a good way to go against Olympiacos, because it's certainly not going to be an easy game, like you guys said. It's going to be tough, very, very tough. They're unbeaten this season. They scored a lot of goals, and I know it's not the strongest league in the world, but they're not a bad side at all. They pushed Tottenham all the way. So yeah, I think we've got to go for it. But isn't it funny though? After the Newcastle game, like I said earlier, I listened to a lot of the podcasts after the Arsenal game. I've listened to a lot today and yesterday, and people are starting to talk about top 4 and top 5. How weird is that? You know, I'm not so crazy after all, am I? I'm not so crazy after all. 7 points.
It's a lot about other teams screwing up, right? Like
Exactly.
They just keep us giving us hope, right? Like we should never be 7 points away with the season that we are having right now.
I know,
but
we are, aren't we?
Right?
We are, and
Yeah, we are.
I'm not looking quite so crazy now. Now, briefly, and this is the last thing, because like I say, it's been going nearly 2 hours. So I'm going to very quickly finish up on this one now, and that is the Everton game. Now, for me, I think this is massive. I think this is an absolutely massive match for several reasons. Obviously, the top 4 and top 5. I don't think that 5th place is going to come into play, by the way. And I'm not going to go into that because that's a whole nother podcast. But they're going to push the appeal, and the appeal will make sure, as far as City are concerned, that they have to go into next year's, because it's going to take too long. They've got more money. City have got more money than UEFA, so they ain't going to take this lying down. Anyway, so I think the 5th place thing is a null and void. But with regards to the Everton one, they're on a massively good run, and they obviously took on Ancelotti the same time as we took on Arteta, and people were wondering whether we got it the right way round, or blah 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 blah. And this is going to sound like Kevin Keegan. I would love it if Arteta did one over on Ancelotti. I would fucking love it. So it'd be amazing, and that's going to be a tough game because they're in a brilliant run of form. So that's going to be a massive test, and it's obviously Arteta's old club as well. So they're going to seriously want to beat us, and it's going to be such a tough game. It really is, and I can't call it. So I really, really hope that we can turn one over, because seriously, if we beat Everton, it'll be one of our best results of the season so far in my eyes, because of the way that we are and the way that we're coming out of this mini slump. And if we beat them, then we could seriously go on a big run, because the matches we've got coming up after them are on paper a lot easier still. So it could really be quite an exciting time as far as I'm concerned, if we can beat them and pick up a winning run.
You watch Walcott turn up on Sunday.
No, why it's even more important is because this coming game week, when we play Everton, Chelsea and Tottenham are playing each other. So that's 4th and 5th.
Absolutely.
That are playing each other. Yeah. And that's where we've lacked, right? Like this is a classic match where we would go and draw this season, right? I mean, every other game, there's a 50% probability that we would go and draw a game. Like it's not like being mystical or anything, but we need to go there, and we need to start strong. It's the Arteta derby, and we need to prove that we are the better club that he's played for, that sort of a thing. But one thing that I don't want to do is sort of try to keep legs on both sides of on both ships, right? Like Everton and Olympiacos. Why do we have to choose that we go with one strong lineup and one not, or two like medium lineups with some changes, etc., etc. These are 3 games, right? Olympiacos away, Everton, and then Olympiacos at home. If we do really well in the first one, then we can change people in the second one, in the second home leg. Yeah. So then people can get an off. they just need to push. And I think that with the season that they've had, determination and motivation should not be lacking to go for 2 games in even though it's in 3 days, to go with that passion and with that determination and to get results in both of these matches.
Yep. So I will
100%.
say was Arteta just came out with a little, I guess he had the press conference. He just said, because he was asked about, what team he wants to play for tomorrow. And he said, we've had a break of 15 days and we just played 1 game. So tomorrow I'm going to put out a team that I think is best to play. The rest of the games will take care of themselves. For me, that sounds like we're going.
That's the perfect attitude, isn't it?
Yeah.
For me, that's like we're going full strength, which I don't disagree. I think it's a good idea, but I think Everton's a really big game for us. Although I don't know what it is, because I guess I have 2 good friends of mine that are big Everton fans. I just feel like Everton's our bitch. We had a tough game, a 0-0 game against them. I know that we didn't play well. I just think Everton's our bitch, and I just think that we're gonna beat them. We're not gonna cruise through them like we did Newcastle, but I just every time I don't know what it is. Every time we play Everton, I just feel so confident in beating them. I don't know what it is. Sorry, Addison. Sorry, Scott. But I just feel like we're gonna beat them every time we play them. Especially with the guys they have. Like they're no match for us. And I don't know the teams they beat. I'm not saying they're playing bad, because they're I think undefeated in the last 6 games. But Pickford hasn't looked good. Their defense is struggling with basic stuff. I'm not worried about them. I know I'm gonna eat my words, but I can't hear you, Andrew. If you're trying to talk,
We can't hear you.
Oh, Andrew, we can't hear you. Poor Andrew, and he's just still talking. I love it. Can he not hear me?
Oh yeah, he can't. We should
There we
make
go.
a separate.
Glenn, I'll just talk over Andrew because he can't hear him. But no, I don't know. I mean, maybe you guys feel differently. I just think that I don't know. I just feel like we own Everton. Even when it's a close game, I'm always confident. I don't know.
No, we generally do. We generally smash them up, but then it's you just remember those games that they've turned up. That was I think Everton was the game that began Mustafi's downfall, wasn't it? That was.
I got some sign language for you, buddy. Yeah, I got some sign language for you. No, I agree. I just think Arteta knows his former club, and I think he's just going to bring it to Everton. I think he's prepared and he's ready. And I also don't rate Ancelotti as a coach, so we'll see. Okay, since Andrew is gone,
Leipzig have got a penalty against Tottenham.
Oh
yeah, and we were talking about Upamecano, right?
I'm not talking with you. We cannot hear you. I promise.
We literally can't hear a word.
I can't. We're not trying to be funny. We literally can't hear you.
It's like you put yourself on mute. Oh, now he's gone. No,
He kicked me out.
and you're back. Oh my days!
I heard you say I got the power, but I barely heard you say I got the power.
Yes.
Very low.
Come on, Leipzig.
Oh, Leipzig scored. Let's go. Was it Timo Werner that scored?
Yeah, penalty. Yeah. Werner taps up. Blast it past Louise apparently.
Come on, Andrew.
Well, that's 8 goals.
Got this. I believe.
Anyway, I'm back.
Oh, you're back.
I just wanted to try it without my headphones, because I'm really disappointed to hear that, or read rather, that we've had problems all show. So that's really pissed me off with regards to echo and robotic voices. So I'm going to finish off now, because that's really annoyed me, because I'm going to have to get back onto Sky about this. But what gives me confidence about Everton, the Everton match, is that we drew 0-0 with them when we were under Freddie Ljungberg. And they were playing well at the time as well under Duncan Ferguson. So fingers crossed we are going to go and win. But that'll be a massive thing. I can't stress enough how important it will be to go on to win 2 or 3 games on the trot. I mean, that's going to be massive. Massive. And I'm so pleased to see that Leipzig have gone ahead as well. Yeah, so that's fantastic news. And they're not playing Upamecano or Konate today, apparently, are they?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
So I think that's the reason is they're in our office talking to Raul.
I didn't get that Chelsea guy. What's his name? Ethan Apapadu? Got the dreads. I don't know.
Ampadu, Ethan Ampadu.
Yeah, he's supposed to be up and coming young guy. I didn't know he was. I know Leipzig got him.
Yeah, he's a good player.
Pixelated David Luiz.
Yeah, that's right.
And by the way, Andrew, I don't hear it echoing anymore. So whatever you do,
Oh, good.
I hear everything's fine now. So it's good.
Oh, that's great.
As I said that, I heard echoing, but very little, very little.
Well, it's really annoying because I never had this until the last 2 or 3 weeks. So I don't know what's going on. Maybe I'll just need to put my computer in the bin and get a new one.
Yeah. It was a bit distracting because when I started speaking, I could hear myself, and then I was like, "Oh God!"
Oh. You should have said I would have removed you from the stream.
Oh yeah.
That's a joke. It's a joke anyway. But, no, anyway, I'm gonna go because it's a shame about these technical problems I keep having week after week now. But I've really enjoyed this show. Actually, I think we've had a really good discussion. I do appreciate you all coming on. Thank you to everyone in the chat box. It's been fantastic this evening. Really good. Thank you to you all. Please give us a like before you go and tell your friends about us. Those that are listening on the audio, please give us a follow and give us a 5-star review on iTunes. I don't actually know whether we've had any of those yet, but it really would help us to spread the word about the podcast. So join us again next week. Thank you again. Thank you, Ryan A, Ryan B, and thank you, Rowan. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you all on board. Thank you very much indeed.
Yeah, to our bros, come check us out.
Here.
Yeah, definitely. Very quickly, how can I get hold of you, Rohan, on social media?
My Twitter handle it's Rohan_Virdi, VIRDI. That's where I'm at. Talking about Arsenal, etc.
And people can see you on some AFTV sometimes. International Gooners, is that right?
International Gooners, yeah. So I'm generally there on AFTV International Gooners as well. So this is the video for those who don't know. This is the video for people who are not in London or going to games, but because I stay in New York and watch games early in the morning or in the afternoon. So we give our reactions, and then that's on AFTV International Gooners. So yes,
I think that's why they chose the really clever name International Gooners, probably.
Yeah,
so it's very smart of them.
There's a couple of people from England as well. So
no, do you get Glenn on that one? Glenn DITM?
Yeah. Glenn's there as well.
Fantastic.
Glenn's the star.
He's he's my brother from another mother, as everyone knows. Rowan, Rowan, thank you very much for coming on board. Ryan.
With Glenn, just a funny one that with Glenn we went to see the Manchester City game. That was when Troops was in New York, and there was this big Arsenal crowd that was there, and we had a blast with Glenn there, and Glenn and I were just hanging out together, and it was great. But at halftime, he was like, "I can't take this shit anymore," so he had to go back. Like,
yeah, fantastic.
Sounds like fun.
Was his Wookiee with him on that occasion? No. Right. Arse Brothers, Ryan. Please watch the Arse Brothers. Listen to the Arse Brothers. It's a fantastic podcast, as I mentioned before. Thank you for coming on board.
Yep.
And Mr. Arsenal podcast. Everyone knows about Mr. Arsenal podcast. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you subscribe to this one. Make sure you subscribe to and the Arse Brothers as well. I'm not going to say about AFTV because everyone subscribed to them already in the whole of the Southern Hemisphere. So good luck with that, Rowan, and hope you come back on again soon. And thanks everyone listening, everyone watching, and good luck to the Arsenal tomorrow night and on Sunday? It is Sunday, isn't it? The Everton game, yeah. Come on, you Gunners. Thank you for coming.
Come on, you Gunners.